When I drew this doodle of myself back in 2018, I gotta say, I really nailed it. It did look like me. That's not the case anymore. 2018 was a long time ago. I've aged. And I gotta tell you, nothing has aged me more than this whole Charlie Kirk affair. Shortly after the assassination, I made a video celebrating the fact that, at the time, I thought that the shooter was a right-wing groiper. To me, he had all of the makings of a Nick Fuentes scion, and I was telling people so in the comments. Now that time has passed, that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. And I've had some people in the comments of that video be like, "This hasn't aged well." Bitch, you ever heard of cheese, or wine, or Wagyu steak? Don't you know that misinformation only gets better with age? Jokes and kids aside, I decided to respond to one of these comments in earnest because my mind has been stewing in the wake of this assassination. Consider this my very sassy and bitchy retraction. This didn't age well? Well, I guess you and this video have something in common. Ha! JK, but in all seriousness, this guy seems like a kid who got blackpilled on the internet, another nihilist shooter. I throw him in the same boat as Solomon Henderson, the 17-year-old black Nazi that shot a student at his high school, and Robin Westman, the trans Nazi that shot up that Catholic school in Minnesota. Robinson was bisexual but also pro-Second Amendment. He wrote on a casing, "If you read this, you're gay," but was apparently with a trans person himself. These shooters are a little bit of everything and nothing politically. They don't believe in anything except irony, which is pretty fucking scary. I'm just gonna go off on a tangent here and just state the obvious that nihilism is a huge problem. We're all so black-pilled, we've overdosed, and we're hell-bent now on committing cultural and societal suicide. I know it's hard in general to not be so cynical because it almost feels like there's no point to shit, but I'm gonna try my best to not be so nihilistic. It's gonna be really fucking hard, but I'm gonna fucking go for it, man. I'm gonna try. And I think this is a good time for me to show you the text exchange that Tyler Robinson had with his roommate after shooting Charlie Kirk. Notice the heavy quotes around text exchange. More on that later.
Robinson said, "I am still okay, my love, but am stuck in Orem for a little while longer." This is after the shooting. "Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I'd hope to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." The roommate, identified in the charging document as a roommate, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson, "I am. I'm sorry." Roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." The roommate says, "Why?" Robinson says, "Why did I do it?" Roommate, "Yeah." Robinson, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. How long have you been planning this?" "A bit over a week." Robinson replies, "I believe I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it." Robinson goes on, "I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. That really fucking sucks."
And that is what Tyler Robinson texted his trans lover. Or that's what the FBI wants you to think. Now, again, this would be very compelling evidence if Tyler Robinson actually did write this. And there's a lot of people that think that he didn't. And I don't blame him. I don't know if he wrote this. This all seems pretty cute and convenient, you know? It fills in all the blanks, it fills in all the holes, and makes him look super guilty, and it just doesn't feel like a 22-year-old wrote it. You know what I'm saying? For real, where are the bruhs in this text exchange? Not one bruh. I gotta say, that's real sus, no cap. There are many conspiracy theories out there, and I think the prevalent one is that Israel popped Charlie Kirk, and Tyler Robinson is just a patsy. Netanyahu the very next day was telling people that he didn't kill Charlie Kirk, which is, again, very sus. And there are emerging stories that say Charlie Kirk was not comfortable with all of the pressure the Zionists were putting on him, but I don't think this is the case. Don't get me wrong, the Israelis do love them some assassinations, but murking Kirk out in the open in the middle of America is way too bold. And I think Netanyahu released that video shortly after Kirk died because he was trying to claim Kirk's audience for himself. Because Bibi wants nothing more than young, straight, white, Christian American men to go fight his blood war against Iran. The man probably wanks himself to sleep every night just thinking about the notion. It also doesn't help that the director of the FBI is giving mild credence to these conspiracy theories. Honestly, if this text exchange is legit, then it's probably the most romantic thing I've ever read in my life. This is like some new age, modern day, Dog Day Afternoon shit. They could reboot that movie and have this be the plot. Or this could be like the spiritual sequel, you know what I'm saying? Instead of Dog Day Afternoon, it's Turning Point Afternoon. Let's get back to my retraction. Was I too early to call this guy right wing? Perhaps. But I don't trust anything the administration/FBI says. Pause! Speaking of the FBI, let's get to this fucking bozo here. Let it be known that Kash Patel had nothing to do with apprehending Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson was turned in by his family. Kash Patel was too busy going to fancy New York dinners and arresting two people that had nothing to do with the shooting. This guy has not come to peace with the fact that he's not a podcaster anymore and that he has a big boy job. Beady-eyed bitch over here sucks at his job. If Kash Patel was tasked with finding his own dick, I don't think he'd be able to find it. I think he'd go on Rogan and be like, "Hey Joe, if you thought I knew where my dick was, you don't think I'd tell you? You don't think I'd tell you, Joe? You don't think I'd tell you? I looked between my legs, Joe. It's not there."
This is a very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla. Rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
And my fear of the government cracking down in response to the assassination, the main thing that drove the joke in the video, has basically come to fruition. I should have known that it didn't matter if the shooter was left or right. Trump's gonna use this as a pretense to punish his enemy. He alluded to that on Fox News. Pam Bondi is gonna use hate speech to prosecute people who worked at Office Depot who wouldn't print out posters of Charlie Kirk. And J.D. Vance has talked about how they're going to go after left-wing groups that had nothing to do with Kirk's murder. Bad actors are going to bad act always. Okay, Pam Bimbo, don't release the Epstein files and go after people for hate speech. Tell me, you fucking brain-dead blonde, how are we going to prosecute this Office Depot hate speech?
The mosque, do not engage the mosque.
Roger.
Alrighty. So they say they don't print political propaganda. So this is somebody that passed away a couple years ago.
That's political propaganda.
You know, when it comes to hate speech, somebody once said, hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. I wonder who said this. Sounds very smart. Oh yeah, it was Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk was the person who said this. And remember those 2 Democratic politicians who were shot in Minnesota by that right-wing guy? Nobody seems to remember that very obvious act of political violence, or certain people don't seem to remember that. Charlie Kirk's death has disturbed me to no end because it's only proven to me that things aren't going to get better. They're probably going to get much worse. All right, time for the hard part. When it comes to the claim I and other people made about Charlie Kirk's assassin being right-wing, I have to admit that I was wrong. With that being said, I just want to focus on the last part of the message I just read about things getting worse. And let's be real here. If we're not going to do anything about gun control, if we're not going to do anything about people's mental health, if we're not going to do anything to improve the lives of these young men so they don't feel like they need to go out in a blaze of glory, I think we should start making this shit into some kind of lottery. Like a DraftKings, but for mass shootings. Seriously, if we're not going to do anything to stop these things from happening, then we should have an app where we can predict when the next shooting's going to be, where it's going to be, the profile of the shooter, whether they're left, right, trans, black, white, whatever. And the closer we are to reality, the bigger the payout. Because if I'm going to go out in a hail of bullets, I would like to get my bag before I go. Let's do the American thing and monetize this shit. Yeah, that's a bad idea. It'd probably be too easy to rig. Okay, I'll stop. You know, I've been really dreading making and finishing this video, and I think I'm going to be dreading all of the other political videos I make from here on out, if I make any more, because the reason why I've made these types of video essays is to try and slow down and maybe prevent this race to the bottom we're in. But I don't know, man. With everything that's happened this past year, I think I'm convinced that we're going to have to hit rock bottom as a people, as a society, as a country, before we get any better. And I don't know what rock bottom looks like exactly, but as long as we get through it and we keep ourselves alive and driven, I think we'll be all right. And again, I'd like to point out, even though I was wrong about the political affiliation of Charlie Kirk's assassin, I am right about the fucking crackdown. You best believe we're gonna have more accelerationist, nihilist psychos go out and shoot up places just for the lulz, and we're gonna have a crackdown from the top, and that's ramping up real fast. These societal ulcers and tumors will be the justification for policies that the current administration will use to try and usher in a one-party state. Trump just recently signed a national security directive called National Security Presidential Memorandum 7. What is NSPM 7? Well, it's a national security directive that allows the Trump administration to go after organization or groups or even individuals who exhibit these types of indicators: anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity, support for the overthrow of the government of the United States, extremism on migration, extremism on race, extremism on gender, hostility towards those who hold traditional American values on family, hostility towards those who hold traditional American values on religion, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American values on morality. If you have any of these indicators, according to the Trump administration, you might be a terrorist. That's pretty fucking broad, ain't it? What happened to keep America free? No joke, I'm kind of coming to terms with the idea that I might go to jail in the next couple of years. Not for anything that I've done, not for anything that I may do, but for things that I've said in the past and present. Because those things, according to the Trump administration, may be indicators that I'm a terrorist. Cool. And you know what? I fucking hope a bitch would. I hope they come after me. I dare them to come after me. They're gonna come after a whole bunch of people before me. I'm not that important, but I fucking dare them. Send me to jail, pussies. Go ahead, ruin my life. That would be the most hilarious thing in the world. Love you, bye. No, but for real, come after me, you motherfuckers. Don't like what I'm saying? Well, too bad. Don't tread on me, you sacks of shit.